I can't wait. I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background.
We are following breaking news out of New York City. The jury in the Sean Diddy Combs racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking trial has reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts.
We all thought we'd seen the darkest corners of Hollywood, but nothing quite prepares us for the bomb Jaguar Wright just dropped. A revelation that takes the Diddy saga from sleazy afterparty whispers to something more like a Bond villain's wet dream. According to Wright, every face you know, the singers, the actors, the ones we grew up worshiping, were at Diddy's infamous parties. Not just for drinks and dancing, but for something much colder, much more calculated. We're talking about nights in sprawling, dimly lit mansions where the cocktails flowed freely, but what was actually inside them? That's the real party favor because, as Wright puts it, nobody walked out the same as they came in. Imagine the heaviest hitters in music and film, surrounded by friends and handlers, losing their grip on reality while shadowy figures monitored every move from behind smoked glass. Hidden cameras, secret microphones, the whole house wired up like a government sting operation. Except this wasn't about justice, it was about control.
Look at Diddy, for instance. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at him. Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at, he has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now.
If we believe Jaguar Wright, and let's be honest, plenty of insiders do, these weren't Diddy's parties, he was just the bait, the shiny lure dangling in front of egos big enough to think nothing could touch them. The true architects, the gatekeepers, remained comfortably out of frame, watching from the shadows as celebrities were slipped something special and pushed into ever more compromising situations. Then, when the lights went up, it wasn't just hangovers they had to worry about. No, somewhere in a vault, maybe in LA, maybe overseas, maybe on a server deep in the cloud, footage existed of every reckless word, every clumsy touch, every act that could end a career or a family. Welcome to the Hollywood economy of fear, where the real currency isn't dollars or fame, but leverage. And if anyone wondered why the FBI can't get a single straight witness, except maybe Cassie, and even that's debatable, well, what would you do if a flash drive full of your worst moments was sitting in a stranger's safe, just waiting to go public? It's a kind of hush that blankets the industry, a silence you can almost hear in every award show speech, every carefully worded social media post. Who dares break rank when the threat is that nuclear? Jaguar Wright says everyone's terrified, not just of Diddy, but of the system he serves. One with its own logic and its own rules, where your dreams can be bought or deleted with a single phone call. And while the world wants answers, the FBI comes up short because nobody wants to be the next cautionary tale. If Cassie's the only possible whistleblower, it's not for lack of victims, it's just that nobody else has the stomach for total annihilation. Cassie's silence becomes its own kind of confession. She's seen the inside of the machine, and the price of talking is higher than even the richest label boss can afford.
Same kind of extortion that we heard when Cassie took the stand and testified on that airplane ride back from France. Diddy said, you don't do a freak off, I'm going to release one of the freak off videos that you are profiled in and humiliate you.
Of course, the rumors won't stop circling, and Wright has only thrown gasoline on the flames with her talk of the secret vault of Hollywood shame. We're not just talking grainy videos, try contracts, receipts, documents designed to tie up a person's freedom for years. The industry always loved NDAs, but these take it to a different level. What's in that vault? If even a fraction of the speculation is true, it's not just about a handful of rappers and actors. It's about the entire pyramid of power. What names would we see? Who would be ruined? The idea alone is enough to make even the loudest celebrities suddenly shy, as if they can hear the click of a hidden camera every time they laugh a little too hard at a party. Let's not forget, Diddy's not even the real kingpin here, if you believe the subtext. He's just the showman, the operator, who got too famous to stay invisible. And yet, somehow, even after the headlines, the arrests, and those infamous freak-off parties that prosecutors practically made a genre out of, we've barely scratched the surface. The real danger, as always, is the footage nobody has seen. The insurance files, the just-in-case leverage tucked away by people who never intended to use it. Unless, of course, someone stopped playing ball. We know enough to be sure. Careers have ended quietly, albums have vanished, people have suddenly found themselves on indefinite hiatus, just as a new round of leaks threatened to surface.
How many people came through his orbit? How many people could this have happened to? And how did he get away with it for for so long.
If anyone thinks this is just about old-school celebrity misbehavior, think again. This goes right to the heart of what it means to make it in the music or movie world. Jaguar Wright points to a whole pipeline where the fresh meat, young, hungry, desperate for validation get brought in under the pretense of networking, only to wake up realizing they've been drafted into Diddy's so-called celebrity trafficking ring. She says it wasn't just an open bar, it was an assembly line for compromise. The moment you set foot in one of those parties, you were being sized up, not for your talent, but for how easily you could be owned. Want a Grammy? Want that Netflix deal? Sure, just sign here and smile for the camera. You'll never really be alone again, and your secrets will never be yours.
At this point, we've all probably heard about these infamous parties. Diddy's assistant now giving us details about what he says were called Wild King Nights.
It gets worse. When the ones who've already been through it try to warn the next generation, what happens? They get painted as crazy, unstable, or off their meds. Just ask Orlando Brown, whose chaotic confessions about making love to Diddy, Drake, Usher, and half the industry are dismissed as the ramblings of someone lost to his own demons. Sure, he's a walking tabloid headline, but is he just another casualty burned up by the machine that chews people up and spits them out as memes? We laugh, we shake our heads, but it's all distraction from the real question. If only the broken stars are willing to talk. What does that say about the price of telling the truth? And it's not just the victims who are under control. The bodyguards, the personal assistants, the road managers, they're all caught in the gears. Look at Gene Deal, Diddy's own former muscle, now banned from the courthouse after a brawl with a YouTuber. One minute, he's dishing dirt about freak-offs with minors. The next, he's silent when pressed about his own role. When even the security guys need their own security, you know the web stretches far beyond any one man. There's a reason witnesses keep their heads down and their stories vague. The collateral damage for crossing the wrong line is legendary.
Did Phil explain why he's speaking out now?
He said he's speaking out because he believes Diddy's a predator. He wants accountability, and he doesn't want someone like this to run unchecked in the future.
Meanwhile, the FBI sits on its hands, stymied by a wall of NDAs, paid silence, and the very real fear that outing the entire scam would collapse the industry itself. Cassie's trauma is on the record, but even her bombshell testimony is just a footnote in a mountain of sealed files and whispered threats. The few who do speak out, like former assistants who describe buying freak-off supplies or flying in talent for marathon parties, end up in the crosshairs themselves. And if you think the files are all digital, think again. Some say there's a literal archive, a safe or two packed with hard drives and physical tapes, held by people who specialize in never being seen. As for those who never got caught on tape, don't get too comfortable. The system doesn't need evidence to ruin you. Sometimes a whisper is enough. Just look at how quickly accusations swirl online. Orlando Brown's half-delirious story about Diddy's ushkash-muash routine turns into a trending topic in under an hour, with fans half joking and half praying he finds help before he gets sued into oblivion. And Busta Rhymes, who spent years tossing homophobic grenades from the stage, finds himself outed by his own former bodyguard and random club-goers who claim his super zest monster persona wasn't just for the camera. Nobody is immune, nobody is really innocent. If you play in these circles long enough, eventually the spotlight swings your way.
I mean, you gave me the ushkash muash. I love it, yo. I love it. You gave me the ushkash muash.
The truth is, for every wild Orlando Brown interview, there's a Terrence Dean or a Gene Deal. Insiders who know where the skeletons are buried but are careful to never dig too deep. The fear isn't just of legal trouble. It's the total erasure that comes from crossing the powers that be, from having your past thrown in your face at the moment of your greatest success. Everyone knows, Dean wrote in his memoir, it is not a secret in that sense, it is just that people do not talk about what goes on in private and who is sleeping with who. The price of loyalty is heavy, but the price of betrayal is career sabotage. Every public feud, every lawsuit, every viral meltdown is just a ripple from this hidden war. A war fought not in the courts, but in the back rooms and hard drives of a billion-dollar dream machine. Even when the accusations get as explicit as possible, like the mountain of testimony about Diddy's freak-off parties, the details start to sound almost routine. Hotel rooms booked under fake names, hotel security paid off for the footage, assistants running errands for mystery bags and envelopes full of cash, baby oil by the 1,000 count, everyone with a job to do and nobody willing to look too hard at what comes after. That's how the machine keeps humming. Each cog too scared, too complicit, or too traumatized to break the chain. Some might call it racketeering. Others would just call it business as usual.
The jurors only have to prove that two of them, or feel that two of them have been proven in order for him to be found guilty on that racketeering conspiracy, as well as believing that Combs led a criminal enterprise for his desires. So even when you take a look at this verdict sheet, for instance, Major, there's the racketeering conspiracy, and then there's the not guilty.
And still, the vault remains. The questions hang in the air like LA smog. What's really inside? How many stars owe their silence to a single grainy video or a signature on the wrong contract? How many careers got cut short for reasons we'll never see in a press release? We can't help but wonder how many reputations have been sacrificed, how many fortunes extorted, how many lives rewritten or erased just to keep the illusion of glamour alive. If Diddy is just the latest scapegoat, what happens when someone finally breaks the code and the vault opens for real?
They saw evidence in the case. They immediately honed in on racketeering, and they started saying, why is this racketeering with one guy? And they're charging this one guy. They had a real problem with that. They did not have a problem with the Mann Act. They found him guilty on the Mann Act. And they hung 6 to 6 on racketeering.
The deeper we go, the clearer it gets. This isn't just a scandal. It's a riddle, with the entire FBI stumped and Hollywood's most famous names locked in a collective panic attack. For all the late-night tweets about justice and accountability, the so-called investigators, armed with federal badges, subpoenas, and the promise of immunity deals, keep coming up empty. How? Because the threat hanging over every potential witness is so complete, so chilling, it might as well be spelled out in flashing lights above the hills. One leak and your fortune, your family, your future goes up in smoke. We've watched dozens, maybe hundreds of major celebrities suddenly clam up, their PR teams feeding the same sanitized statements to reporters. No comment at this time. Our client is focusing on their creative projects. Or that evergreen classic, we are cooperating fully. Cooperation? If the rumors are right, the only thing they're cooperating with is a silent handshake agreement that nobody breathes a word about what happened at those parties. Because, for once, the tapes are very, very real.
We've talked about the fact that there's sometimes videos or photos or what don't get admitted to a case because they're
overly
prejudicial.
Right. This is getting admitted. Both sides.
It's definitely getting admitted.
Both sides agree. It's going to be admissible. The defense has a hurdle to jump. I will tell you that they vote in the end, and the vote.
The sheer power of that footage, allegedly stashed away in Diddy's secret vault, turns the world's most powerful artists into hostages. Every red carpet smile hides the quiet terror that tonight might be the night a video leaks and their career collapses before breakfast. It's a slow-motion hostage situation, with the FBI forced to watch from the sidelines while the real players, the gatekeepers Jaguar Wright warned about, pull the strings with more precision than any government agency. And so the lawmen come and go, boxes of documents stacked in unmarked cars, hopeful for a break that never comes. Not because there's no evidence, but because everyone who knows the truth is petrified to speak it. The unwritten rules of the game are simple. Stay silent or end up a cautionary tale.
Continue to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm gonna be, nah. You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence.
Even now, as Diddy's legal team wrangles over what evidence is admissible and which witnesses will testify, the broader conspiracy stays locked behind layers of NDAs and whispered threats. We've seen what happens when anyone strays off script. They get steamrolled, accused of making things up, written off as unstable, or quietly encouraged to take a sabbatical. The chilling part isn't what gets revealed, but what stays hidden. With every headline about new indictments and overturned verdicts, it becomes harder to ignore the stench of complicity. The FBI, for all its resources, keeps bumping up against an industry-wide omerta, one that's as effective as anything the old mob ever dreamed up. Why else would so many promising leads evaporate the moment investigators start knocking? Nobody wants to be the one who triggers the nuclear option, the grand release of the archive that could upend music, film, and streaming all at once. And let's be honest, the walls are closing in on more than just Diddy. When a system has operated for decades, its roots get deep. The bodyguards and drivers who once ferried celebrities between parties now find themselves under the microscope. Old texts and DMs being pulled by prosecutors, only for lawyers to remind them that every confession puts their own livelihoods at risk. Nobody wants to become the next former insider, forced to flee the country, change their name, or suddenly discover an urgent need for privacy. If the rumors are right, even the most squeaky clean public figures have skeletons taped up in that vault, sometimes literally. It's no wonder the silence is deafening.
We made love.
Who you made love with?
Diddy, Bow Wow, Busta Rhymes.
Nowhere is that silence more painfully obvious than in the treatment of Orlando Brown. If ever there was a whistleblower who screamed for attention and then got it in all the wrong ways, it's him. Orlando's jaw-dropping interviews have become meme fodder, his wild-eyed delivery mocked and remixed by half the internet. When he starts naming names, Drake, Usher, Diddy, Busta Rhymes, and more, the comments fly in by the thousand. Somebody help this man. He needs a doctor, not a microphone. Posting unmedicated patients is a form of bullying. It's a circus, yes, but step back for a second and ask, why is it always the most troubled, least credible person who tries to blow the lid off this thing? Ben's chaotic energy and checkered history make him the perfect fall guy for anyone eager to discredit the real secrets of Hollywood. When he claims he made love to Diddy or that his father is Lucifer, it's so far off the rails it's almost designed to get us laughing, not listening. But every time he goes viral, something else gets buried. The uncomfortable pattern where whistleblowers with nothing left to lose are painted as unstable, their stories drowned in a tidal wave of ridicule. The industry doesn't have to deny anything, all it has to do is point and laugh until we stop caring. Meanwhile, the possibility lingers, what if even a fraction of Brown's rambling is rooted in reality? Trauma can scramble your brain, twist memory, even make you look deranged to the outside world. If what Orlando says sounds unbelievable, maybe that's the point. After all, the best place to hide a scandal is in plain sight, dressed up as a joke nobody's supposed to take seriously.
He loved me while he loved me. And only I can, just like Diddy. The same thing with Diddy.
And Orlando's not alone. Time and again, those who break the code get thrown to the wolves. Think Razby, Terrence Dean, even lesser-known assistants and security guards who try to talk. The media machine cranks up. Unstable, addicted, troubled past. The minute someone tries to bring receipts, the label of liar gets stamped on their forehead. But the whispers never really stop. Diddy, for his part, shrugs it off on The Breakfast Club. He loves me. Y'all can't see that he loves me? You really think that's hate? The whole thing starts to look less like a search for truth and more like a magic trick. Distract with drama, bury the bodies, keep the show moving.
And this is the flight where Diddy said to her,
showed her
she
the video,
testified
showed her the
that
freak-off video.
he showed her a video of a freak-off that she participated in and said, if you don't participate in another freak-off when we get to New York, I'm gonna put this video out. I'm gonna send it to your mother.
And that's coercion,
She testified
if it's true.
to that.
If the jury
if they
believes
believed her,
yeah.
That's coercion. They would have Cassie.
Every time the court lets a case expire or a witness recants, we're left with more questions than answers. Diddy's lawyers shout about overcharging and consensual behavior, while the prosecution piles up tales of freak-off parties, marathon sessions, and a network of helpers who make sure nothing leaks, unless they want it to. Meanwhile, new names get dragged into the vortex. Drewski, Odell Beckham Jr., Kid Cudi. Some are cleared, some fight defamation suits, but all feel the chill of proximity. Even when proven innocent, the stink never fully goes away. And then there's that vault. It's become the industry's version of Pandora's box, a physical or digital trove holding years' worth of blackmail material, ready to turn the next star into tomorrow's tabloid cautionary tale. Is it real? We've seen enough insider testimony, enough coordinated silence to make even skeptics wonder. According to the most persistent rumors, there are NDAs that never expire, contracts that tie up fortunes for decades, and tapes that, if leaked, would change what we think about our idols overnight. We're told it's somewhere safe, guarded by more than just bodyguards and alarm codes. If there's a smoking gun, this is it. So the industry holds its breath. The threat isn't just to a handful of artists, it's existential. A single leak from that vault could topple a label, take down a streaming platform, or even torch an entire awards show overnight. The insurance policies written in the currency of humiliation. Jaguar Wright's warning echoes louder than ever. This isn't about Diddy the mogul or even Diddy the scapegoat. It's about the system that allowed all of this to happen and is now fighting for its life. If Diddy is just a pawn, who is the king? Who are the invisible hands making the real decisions, keeping the secrets, and silencing the dissenters?
Same thing for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the interesting thing about the Epstein and the theory about Epstein is we know he filmed people for sure on that island. He has a lot of movies, a lot of films of people that are very, very powerful political figures. And entertainers, business people. So, do you really believe that Jeffrey Epstein himself? Of course not. Of course not. Yeah.
What's next? Could the vault service as part of some future plea deal, a last-ditch act of revenge, or an anonymous drop on the dark web? And if it does, will it finally end the cycle or just set off a new arms race of blackmail and exposure? One thing's for sure, this story isn't done. If even a fraction of Jaguar Wright's claims are true, the biggest names in Hollywood and music are sitting on a powder keg, one click away from total implosion. So here's where we leave you, caught in the crossfire between fame and fear. What do you think is hiding in Diddy's vault? And whose face would shock you the most if the truth ever got out? Drop your wildest guesses and theories in the comments, because this is one secret that could blow the roof off the entire industry. Until next time, keep your eyes wide, your secrets safe, and remember, sometimes the real story is the one they don't want you to see.